In the last 10 years, we have changed so many pieces of our lives that how we define who we are has completely changed. And it turns out that happiness has nothing to do with technology, or has very little to do with technology. So for example, you're probably unhappy if you have no technology supporting you, no mobile, no phone calls. But then when you have it, you're not more happy when you get more connected. It's not in proportion. It's like money. In many ways, as Marshall McLuhan says, first we make the tools, and then the tools make us. And I think this is what's happening about happiness. Our tools have impacted who we are and what we want and what we can do. And that's sometimes very positive. For example, it makes you happy. You can make free phone calls, or listening to 80 million songs on YouTube could make you happy. But now we're realizing that happiness has very little to do with all those practical things. It can make us unhappy not to have them, but happiness cannot be found on the screen or in a computer or in the cloud. We can create simulations of happiness, like in a video game, or of course in the movies. But now we're finding that technology brings us back to ourselves to define what we actually want rather than what we can have. And this is one of the things that a lot of technology does to us. We're finding that it's not about the question whether it's possible, but whether we like it or whether it's good. And by 2030, when we have computers that have the power of all of the human brains, then it will not be about whether it's possible, because everything will be possible. So we can bring back an actor from the 1920s and have him show up in the middle of the room in a hologram. We can do all these things. But then the question is, what actually satisfies us? What do we want? And that's where happiness comes from. If we can reach what we want, how we can express ourselves, that's much more about that. A lot of times in technology, we are confusing the tool with the process or the result. So we think the tool itself is the happiness. But the tool is just a tool to happiness or not. It's not actually a guarantee. So a lot of these things are confusing, especially, for example, virtuality, where we can escape into fake happiness. And this is one of the biggest dangers, I think, of a technology society, that we can escape into a world of intelligent assistants and avatars and virtuality. On the screen, we can go anywhere, we can talk to anyone, but it's all a simulation. When we look at this simulation, we will not find real happiness there. We find a simulation of happiness. So this is the biggest danger, that we believe that we're kind of fake happy, and that's good enough. That creates sort of a synthetic world where we're living inside of this fake environment with fake friends and social media friends and fake Instagram pals and in fake movies that we make, and so we satisfy them. It becomes sort of a circus that creates fake happiness because it's easy to create that. And then we feel connected to others, but the reality is it's all fabricated. If you've seen the movie Her, you can see that this happiness was simulated by the computer. And when the computer said that she is not real, the whole world crashed. It's like in the second Blade Runner, he has a holographic girlfriend, and she hangs from the ceiling. She's very real. She can wear beautiful dresses and everything, but she's a hologram. And when the power goes out, she's gone. So I think technology brings us back to really asking the question, what makes us happy? How do we actually find this? Can it be found using technology? I don't think so. I think it's just technology is a tool, and we'll find things there or not, but it's not a guarantee for happiness, just like money is not. You can have a lot of money, be very unhappy. In fact, the chances are high that you'll be very unhappy with a lot of money. And that's why you will not find happiness in the cloud. You will not find it on the screen. These are tools to find things that you may otherwise not find. But the purpose of life is a different story. So, for example, when we find more purpose because we have better tools, then out of that we can find happiness. Because people without a purpose are often very unhappy because they don't have an agenda. They don't have something they're looking forward to that drives them. So I think we're going to find that technology brings us back to the same question. What exactly do we want to be? A lot of technology creates the illusion that we are not lonely, or the illusion that we have many friends around us, and it creates this fake community around us, but it actually amplifies the loneliness. That's why social media has been such a dangerous place, because it's put together by a machine to create a fake community of people. And for example, in Instagram, studies have shown that some of the power users are the most lonely people you can imagine, because they're creating a fake situation where they have to produce to stay relevant. And when they stop producing, they become completely useless. I think this is probably the hardest thing to face, is that technology will make us more lonely if we use it wrongly, beyond the purpose. The other thing that's happening is that everything is asking for a more holistic worldview. We have this myopic world. There's money, there's business, there's technology. And what we need is a view that's more encompassing, not just about money, about performance, but about a larger world story. And this story is now unfolding when people are asking for who's in charge of this and who's in charge of peace or war. And is the UN in charge of that, or who's in charge of artificial intelligence, and who makes the rules? These questions are all about purpose as well, and they require a holistic viewpoint. So we have people that matter, we have the planet that matters, we have purpose, and then we have prosperity, and they're all coming together now. This is the challenge with the stock markets today. The markets are only incentivizing one aspect of society, which is about profit and about money. Everything else is being disregarded. So we have a holistic demand, especially by younger people who want more than just one thing. But we have the old world, which is still there. All that matters is how much money you produce. The difficult part is that the old world is falling apart, but the new world isn't here. And now we're stuck in this paradigm shift, especially younger people, to invent how this all works. I think one of the biggest businesses in the world today is to replace human things like happiness and purpose with technology. We're now building things all the time that do what people used to do. So now there's therapy bots like Pi.ai that you can speak to and get advice. And now there's machines that will measure your oxygen and your blood pressure and analyze to see if you have indications of being unhappy. And we have connected forks that tell you if you're eating too fast. We have all of these things that basically do the things that humans used to do, but now the machine does it. And this is the next big thing that's happening, is that we're going to speak to intelligent assistants that are like people, like we've seen in the movies. I imagine this is only 2 or 3 years away, where we have devices that we can speak to and they will answer us in the voice of a mother or whatever. This becomes a kind of a substitutional thing. So rather than pursuing the real thing, we have this. And this takes the role of being almost like real. For example, we have artificial humans, Samsung, Neon, where they create fake humans that are sitting in the screen. And when you come in the store, they speak to you. So we have a lot of technology trying to be like humans. That is the idea of creating fake happiness. And that really worries me, because in the end, if we believe that this is how life is, then we get used to living in a separate place, like a manufactured world, like a giant mall, basically. And I wonder about that being the right approach to life.